did already.
Good morning.
If you want me to sing, I could sing for you.
She does. You got a background for karaoke?
I'm the best karaoke singer you want to hear.
You have earplugs now?
Earplug. The big things on the
Hurricane. Miami.
That's not good.
Oh, that's right.
Good morning, everyone. Apopka High School welcomes you to Joe Sterling Gymnasium for game number 22 of the 14th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by St. Germain Chiropractic, Burnfat Orlando, and Advent Health. It's the event that puts the reputation of the Orlando Metro Conference on the line against some of the best talent in the greater Central Florida area. And this is our ladies' game. Please welcome our guests representing the Florida teams wearing the gray jerseys, visitors on the scoreboard. From Mount Dora High School, they are the Hurricanes. And wearing the white jerseys, home on the scoreboard, representing the Orlando Metro Conference, your host school, your Apopka Blue Tartars. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Mount Dora. And we'll start at point guard with 5'5" sophomore, number 1, Tasia Bosch. At shooting guard, 5'6" junior, number 2, Morales Garcia. At shooting guard, 5'6" sophomore, number 14, Peyton Colva. At forward, 5'8" sophomore, number 12, Isabella Abner. And finally for the Hurricanes at center, 5'11" freshman, number 25, Amelia Walker. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for your Apopka High School Blue Darters. Starting for Apopka at shooting guard, 5'7" senior, number 2, Asia Jones. At guard, 5'4" senior, number 3, Chanel Francis. At point guard, 5'4" senior, number 4, Ira Nurse. At 5'8" sophomore, number 5, Michaela Wiggins. And finally for the Blue Darters, 5'7" senior, number 24, Nyla Johnson. The head coach of the Hurricanes in his first year, Josh Upson. And for the Blue Darters in her 9th year at Apopka, Brittany Hardy. The officials for this morning's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. For those of you here in the arena, we want to remind you that this morning's game is being broadcast live on YouTube and the NFHS network. If you have friends and family back in Mount Dora, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, and they're not able to join us in person here at Joe Sterling Gymnasium, just direct them to NFHSnetwork.com if they're a member there, or even if they're not a member, they can watch for free on YouTube. The channel name is Metro VSFL. And we want to welcome those of you who have done just that. My name is Mark Barchi. I am the media director and operations manager of the Metro versus Florida Challenge, and I am joined by Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through this special ladies installment of the Metro versus Florida Challenge. This is a tradition that Coach Williams and Coach Hardy got together and introduced, 3 or 4 years ago, right, Neil?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And as always, excellent job with the player introductions, the pre-game festivities. And so Mount Dora with the turnover on the very first possession. If you're joining us for the first day, it is a 11-10 lead for the Metro Conference. And as we get underway here, taking a quick look at the previews, as Mark just said, Mount Dora, a rebuilding team with a new coach, Josh Upson. Last season they went 6-15. Their season ended in the district quarterfinals, so the first round of the district championship. This is their first appearance in this event, and they are a member of Class 4A District 6, 6-15 last year again, but they do return 7 players teams.
Held ball.
So
Possession Darters.
So look for Mariolis Garcia, she's averaging 12 points a game. Tasia Bosch averaging 11.5, and Peyton Kova averaging 8.5 points as well. We look at the other side. To Apopka, of course, the host school. And Brittany Hardy in her 9th season, a alumni herself. She was the captain of the 2008 State Final Four team as we get our first points of the game.
3 for Janelle Francis. That puts the Darters on the board.
They made it to the finals of their district championship tournament last year with a 9-15 record, member of 7A3, so they're also rebuilding as well. Look for Annabella Hart, Asia Jones, and Janelle Francis. They are the threesome that stand out and looking to get back into the playoffs after a 2-year drought.
Fouls called against Hurricanes. Number 12, Isabella Abner. That's her first personal foul, the team's first. And at the line, shooting for Apopka, number 5, Michaela Wiggins. One of 2 at the line for Wiggins, and Apopka is out to a 4-0 lead. Good work by Wiggins getting in the way of that one, and now we're going to get a held ball. Possession, Hurricanes. So Mount Dora forces the turnover since the possession arrow is in their favor. A little over 6 minutes to go here in the first period. And Neil, as we mentioned at the top, this is game. Oh, there's another pick to the Darters in transition. There's the layup. Basket scored by Nurse, and we'll pause for a timeout. 30-second timeout requested by the Hurricanes. We'll take this opportunity to thank our presenting sponsors, including Dr. St. Germain and his team at St. Germain Chiropractic, offering the best non-invasive health care in the Orlando, Central Florida area. With most insurance accepted, they can help with your back and neck pain, headaches, auto accidents, slip and fall injuries, musculoskeletal conditions, and more. Remember, when in pain, call St. Germain. So again, as we mentioned at the top, this is game 22 out of 28. It is our first game of day 4, a 28-game marathon over 4 days, an event that has grown and grown and grown. It has varied in number of games from the high teens up to now. I believe 28 is the most we've ever had in a single event. It has also grown from 2 days in its original stages at Wekiva to 3 days and now up to 4 days. And 2 sites. Lake Highland Prep getting in on the action a couple of years ago after the passing of Coach Earl Graham, who made a difference in a lot of places, as we get a Blue Darter layup by Michaela Wiggins.
So 5 minutes remaining in an 8-8 tie, second of the ball game.
And of course, Lake Highland Prep and Apopka were probably the 2 schools where Coach Graham spent the most years out of any of his 50-plus year career, and so those are the 2 schools now that host the tournament that bears his name. As we get a layup attempt that is a little off.
Battle underneath, and a held ball, and it'll be Mount Dora's.
Held ball, possession Darters.
So Mount Dora comes in 1-1. They lost to Tavares in their season opener, and then they came back, defeated South Sumter. Apopka looking for its first win of the season, played only 1 game, losing to Colonial. Of course, Colonial, a traditional state power. Always looking for a long run into the playoffs. No dice on that one. Windex work. Battle underneath again. One of the Darters came up with it, couldn't see it. They rotated all the way to the left wing, sweeping through that lane, the slash and dash with some muscle, Asia Jones. And she'll go to the free throw line.
Asia Jones is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. Morales Garcia is called on her first personal foul. That's the team's second. And she hits her first. That'll be her first point of the game.
Puts Apopka ahead 9-8, 4:29 first quarter. And the steal, nice bounce pass in the middle of that paint, and that will also draw a second consecutive
Myra
foul.
Nurse now draws the contact. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 3, Defani Copeland. That's her first personal foul, the team's third. So Nurse now with 3 points. Looking for 4 here. And she gets it.
So 3 of 4 from the line for Apopka. That's at least one stat that Apopka's got to feel good about now. And the 11-8 lead as we approach 4 minutes in the first quarter. The other end, too much heat off the backboard. The rebound, the long outlet pass, second pass, and making the withdrawal is Wiggins.
Michaela Wiggins for 2.
So a 2-possession lead, first time this game, 13-8. And now a foul, contact, and
Foul's called against Darters number 24, Nyla Johnson, her first personal foul, the team's first. A lot of personnel changes now.
so Mount Dora go back to work. Down by 2 possessions, 13-8.
Held ball, possession Hurricanes. And an anemic pass is easily picked off by Wiggins, and there she goes. That's Michaela Wiggins scores on the stolen layup.
So now an 8-0 run from Apopka.
Well, technically 15-0.
And a 5th consecutive turnover at the other end. And won't get points, but we'll see some free throw attempts. That's Wiggins.
Janelle Francis is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Annabella Stinchcomb. That's her first and the team's 4th.
And actually, it's actually 4 consecutive possessions with the turnover, not 5. But still, the point is that's spurred this run. And yes, it's 16 straight points for Apopka to open this up. So again, Apopka looking for its first win of the season. They have played only 1 game though. $15-0 to score, and another turnover. Although Mount Dora catches the break this time.
Yeah, it's up to you. You can either call that 0 turnovers or 2.
So 2:17 first quarter. No dice on that attempt from Cook. Still no points on the board. And Apopka goes back to work. They'll look for transition and overthrew that pass. That's Francis.
And 16 as well.
Okay, so it is 16-0. Having some.
No.
So at the scoreboard, we had some conference here, and we have come up that 16 points have been scored by Apopka. Chance to go 18, picking up that loose ball is Polynese, and she makes the withdrawal.
Kimura Polynese steals a layup.
So this defense thrown out by Coach Hardy, giving Mount Doors all kinds of fits and trouble, and there we see another turnover and another withdrawal on the fast
Michaela
break.
Wiggins.
And do we get another? Yes, another turnover. And back to work Apopka goes. No too hard on that shot, but they get the offensive rebound. Only the second of this quarter, but they're shooting around 75%. And they'll continue as stop, pop, and drop for
Francis. Well, Neil, not a lot to criticize about Apopka. They're getting steals on nearly every possession and either going to the line or converting a layup. Foul is called against Hurricanes, number 22, Tegan Scott, her first, the team's 5th. At the line shooting 2, Michaela Wiggins. That, of course, would have been a shooting foul anyway, but for what it's worth, Apopka is in bonus. Michaela Wiggins now in double digits, a fairly rare feat for the opening 8 minutes.
Yeah, 32 seconds remaining. That'll leave Apopka a 4 of 6 at the line, and tracking down that rebound is Wiggins. A quick pass underneath to Dillon, and she gets whacked. She'll
Amari
go to
Dillon
the
is
line.
fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Isabella Abner, her second.
So again, with a 23-point lead, I think most people would think that there's a lot of rebounds going on as well, but only 4 rebounds in total, 2 offense, 2 defense. That's because
Mount Dora
Apopka,
hasn't taken any shots.
number 1 and number 2, Apopka isn't missing. They're shooting around 75%. And Mount Dora rips down that rebound. Give that one to Cook.
And predictable form for the Darters. That was number 1, Annabella Hart. You stuck in the game if you weren't paying attention during the last break. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter, and it is a dominant performance for the Blue Darters, up 26 in the opening 8 minutes here in game 22 of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. We'll take this opportunity to thank our presenting sponsors, Burn Fat Orlando, who challenge you to step on the scale with their money-back guarantee. If you don't lose weight within the first 10 days, they'll refund your money. Give them a call at 855-889-THIN. That's 855-889-THIN to get the tools and guidance you need to achieve better health and your weight loss goals with an inviting atmosphere, friendly staff, and programs to take charge of your weight and your life. With a customized approach, personalized programs, fast results, real nutrition, and strong support. 855-889-THIN, burnfatorlando.com. If you haven't already done so, make sure you download a copy of the program. It is available with a QR code at the admission table, or you can just go to our website, metrovsfl.com, and you can download that for free. We have team capsules for all 50 teams participating in this week's event, as well as rosters, team photos, event history, and more. Again, it's metrovsfl.com, or scan the QR code at the admission table for your free program.
And we begin the second quarter, a 26-0 lead for Apopka. Obviously, as indicated by the score, this has been a dominant performance. And it's been their defense which has spurred it. Of course, Apopka, Coach Hardy, no different than most teams nowadays. It's defense transitioning into offense.
And now finally Mount Dora gets a steal and a fast break opportunity and converts. Hurricanes on the board, courtesy of Tasia Bosch.
Again, Apopka looking for its first victory of the season. Only one game in, though. And a couple of turnovers now. And just as soon as I said that, not actually a turnover. Looked like it was going to be.
Shot taken and it bounces out for Amelia Walker. However, Bosch comes up with the rebound, goes out to the corner, 3 up, and it's short for Garcia. Now the Darters go to work. And the bounce pass is intercepted by Bosch. Now she's trying to go coast to coast, gets her dribble taken out from under her by Nurse, goes straight to Wiggins. Apopka in transition, and the pass coming in from Wiggins to Polynice a little too hard for Polynice to reel in. So one good turnover deserves another. Checking into the game for Mount Dora, Tegan Scott. And now the Hurricanes go back to work.
6.5 minutes, minute and a half into the second quarter.
Stolen by Dillon. Outlet pass. And once again, the Darters struggle to reel it in. That was Annabella Hart under the basket that time. So Apopka certainly having opportunities. They're making the plays on defense. They are getting the ball out from under the Hurricanes, and then they're trying to do something particularly dazzling in transition, and that's where they've been tripped up at least the first couple possessions of this quarter. Through traffic, Morales Garcia for 2.
So Mount Dora showing some signs of life. 2 consecutive baskets, 2 consecutive possessions.
Polynice's tray is off the heel. Offensive rebound for Wiggins, and too hot on the second chance attempt. Held ball, possession.
No, that's going to go there now. And then after the turner,
Possession Hurricanes. So Apopka will do a fire drill, change out all their players.
And Apopka now in that full court defense. And there's another turnover, intercepting the pass, does not go, but Windex work and making the withdrawal, Asia Jones.
Asia Jones adds 2 for the Darters. And now Apopka turning up the heat, putting on the full court pressure. And again, Neil, it's one of those things, particularly this early in the ball game, I don't have any ethical objection to that. It's early season. You've got to get experience for your team. Never mind that it's a 24-point differential. Your objective as a coach at this point in the season is to give your team experience. And turning down the pressure and just dropping to half court is not the way. You're not doing yourself any favors. Forget this game, but for the next 2 or 3 games that you're going to play, where you may not have a 24-point advantage. So,
yeah, Mark, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of the game, Coach Hardy was a member of the 2008 State Final Four team for Apopka. And so I've known her since I met her that year in 2007. And in all that time, I've never really known her to be someone that's going to intentionally run up the score just for the sake of running up the score.
But at the same time, again, you gotta keep playing. We'll take this opportunity with the 30-second Apopka timeout to thank our presenting sponsor, Advent Health, Central Florida's #1 trusted ER. Sometimes life can take an unexpected turn. When it does, know that the area's most preferred ER is nearby. Advent Health's elite team of specially trained physicians and critical care nurses are available 24/7 to care for any of life's thrills and spills. And they offer the most ER locations, so Central Florida's #1 ER is always within reach. Find your Advent Health ER at myclosester.com.
Yeah, and I also want to point out, Mark, and I don't mean this to be mean-spirited, but just as a former athlete, it's not Apopka's the team that has the big lead. It's not their job to stop themselves from scoring. Going back to what I was saying, I don't think Coach Hardy...
To the paint, Asia Jones.
I have no reason to believe that Coach Hardy is running up the score just for the sake of running up the score. Like you said, you were not playing one game this season. You're playing 25. And
Janelle Francis is called on the foul. It is her first personal foul, the team's first.
And like anything in anything you do in life, any activity, you don't get good at it unless you get a lot of repetition, and you can't just do it once or twice. So you have an opportunity to put in a full court defense or your best offense, you do it.
Passes out of bounds. That'll turn the ball over to the Darters. You saw Janelle Francis trying to make a play for it there and then did the wise thing and said, oh, that's going out on its own. I don't need to touch that. So Mount Dora drops back into the half-court set. And it looks like Walker might have gotten a piece of that one, and we're going to get a lockup on the rebound. Held ball, possession Darters. I just realized I never moved your little possession icon at the bottom, so we'll just leave it there, and it'll be right for next time. Trey is just a little bit too hot. Johnson comes down with a rebound. To the paint, Jones. There it is. Asia Jones to the key for 2. 7 points for her tonight. Should be noted that if we do get to a 35-point differential, we would not go to a running clock until we get to the second half. You have to do at least 2 quarters with standard timing rules.
So if you're new to the Metro versus Florida Challenge as a whistle and a travel.
I saw Wiggins make eye contact with the official and do the traveling motion together. She knew what she did.
It was right in front of us. There are 23 schools now in the Metro Conference. It's not like college where you get invited and there's discussions and you get realignment. It's very simple. No dice on that one. Offensive rebound, 2 attempts. Does not go. One of the few
Johnson was just hoping she was going to draw contact there. That was a wild shot. Now a beautiful play by Francis, who gets in there and intercepts. And it is Francis to Nurse for 2. So 30-point advantage. Now Nurse steals. Was thinking about going down the baseline herself. Spins around. That's not going to fall. And they're going to say Nurse touched it last.
So again, getting back to
full timeout called by the Hurricanes.
To explain this tournament, you're a Metro Conference member if you're located in Orange County as well as a public high school. 28 games. This is the last day, 7 each day. And at the end, we add up which side, either the Metro Conference or the non-Metro, a.k.a. the Florida Contingency, wins the most game. And again, it's based on the college conference challenges. Mark?
We'll take this opportunity to thank a few more of our sponsors who helped to make the Metro versus Florida Challenge possible, including our friends at the Foundation for Seminole State College, who extend their appreciation to the Van Gundy family, celebrating and honoring the life of Kimberly Van Gundy through 2 endowed scholarships donated generously to Seminole State College. You can learn more about the Kimberly J. Van Gundy Endowed Scholarships in Education and Interior Design by visiting the Foundation for Seminole State College or scanning the QR code in your program.
So back to live action, a 34-4 lead by Apopka Blue Darters representing the Metro Conference against Mount Dora Hurricanes representing the Florida contingency, a 11-10 lead in the count, which I just explained before we went to the break. And there's not really much to say with the 34-4 lead. It's been a dominant performance by Apopka, and as you expect from a Coach Hardy team, it's been the defense igniting that offense. As there's an example of
Outlet
what
pass to
we've seen.
Janelle Francis for 2.
We've seen a lot of long passes, not many dribbles when Apopka brings that ball up court. That's always a sign of an efficient transition. As we're now down to 2.5 minutes.
And Janelle Francis got nobody in front of her, so she can saunter to the hoop.
Makes the
Janelle
withdrawal.
Francis makes the layup. 10 points for her now. She joins Michaela Wiggins on the court, who also has 10. And I'll say this for Apopka, they are sharing the love. You don't necessarily, I mean, you got a couple players in double figures, which is inevitable when you push 40 points, but it's not all 1 or 2 people that are getting all the offensive production here.
Yeah, Apopka also looking for its first win of the season. It's 0-1 losing to state powerhouse Colonial. Of course, after this game, they will play Ocoee. That's December 3rd. And then we have the Metro Conference Championship Tournament starting the week of December 5th. So that's about 10 days from now. Actually, that's next Friday, I believe, December 5th.
Rims out on the tray attempt by Scott. Number 12, Amari Dillon picks up 2. So again, technically we have enough points to trigger the running clock. However, that cannot go into effect until the second half. Basket by Defani Copeland.
And stick around, of course, this is the first of 7 games. Mark Barchi, that's the other voice you hear. He's also the public address announcer. I'm Neil Fisher. Thank you for joining us, spending a part of your holiday weekend with us. Hope you had an opportunity to enjoy some friends, family, and a good meal on Thursday, as is the tradition. As the turnover, Mount Dora have a chance to cut into that lead. We will only be broadcasting 3 of the games today. But there are 7 in total. The next game, the men's.
Defani Copeland is fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Annabella Hart, her first, the team's second.
The men will be back on the court. That will be the host school Apopka under Scott Williams. Of course, he's also the director as well as Apopka head coach. They'll be taking on Lake Howell. And then the next game, the last one we will be broadcasting, will feature Windermere Wolverines taking on the Vieira Hawks, a pair of state powerhouses. Of course, Windermere, I believe this is their eighth year they've now been open. And all of those 8 years, they've been under the leadership of Mark Grizik, the former Olympia coach, who's made several trips to the state Final Four among 3 different teams. And he's known, his specialty is taking teams, opening schools when they open and turning them into state Final Four participants.
Asia Jones is called on the foul. That's her first, the team's third.
And of course, as I mentioned, Mark Grizik, no different now at Windermere, with turning teams into Final Four teams from scratch.
Copeland.
As Windermere got to the Final Four in its second season. So back to the action, 20 seconds remaining. Apopka looking for one last basket to cap off what's been a remarkable first half. Certainly, as I mentioned, have no reason to believe that Coach Hardy is running up the score intentionally, but again, you want your team to keep playing. You don't want them to shut it down. And certainly that's not what Apopka has done. Apopka's done anything but shutting it down. And as you mentioned, Mark, a very balanced attack, as there's the buzzer in a 40-9 lead.
That takes us to halftime. 40-9 your score at intermission here in game 22 of the 14th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by St. Germain Chiropractic, Burnfat Orlando, and Advent Health. We'll take this opportunity to thank our friends at Williams Construction and Development, dedicated professional superior craftsmanship and better building materials. Also, Winter Park Driving Academy, now offering road tests that allow your student drivers to skip the DMV. Visit WPDriving.com to schedule a lesson for your student driver. We also want to thank our friends at Elevate Orlando, a civic nonprofit that is dedicated to helping students grow in strength of character and application of essential life skills. They are in the classroom as an accredited elective course and also spend more than half of their time outside the classroom mentoring students. With more than 1,500 participants, 14 partner schools, and a 98% graduation rate, along with 96% post-secondary placement, visit Elevate Orlando to learn more. And we want to thank Lo Wood and his team at Excel Speed Training. They have 3 opportunities for your athletes to get some training in Apopka, East Orlando, and Central Florida Christian Academy, offering training for all sports, speed and agility, fitness, and more. Visit excelspeed.com to learn more. We're going to take a break for the next 7 minutes. We'll be back with more from Joe Sterling Gymnasium after the break. Darters have the opening possession of the second half. Welcome back to Joe Sterling Gymnasium. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher to take you through second half of game 22. What has so far been a dominant performance by Apopka. Now they're shooting at the other basket. We'll see if that one is just as kind to them. Count the basket and one. Copeland is called on the hold. It's her first, the team's first of this half.
So Apopka continues where it left off in the first half with the chance for the old-fashioned three-point play. Iron kind. And now the lead up
Wiggins shooting there.
Lead up to 34.
And if Apopka scores again, that may be the last time we stop the clock for this game.
Yeah. And again, we talked about it in the first half. Again, I don't mean to sound blunt or mean or nasty or anything, but you know, I hear many coaches talk about when you do have this larger lead, it's not the team that has the larger lead, it's not their responsibility to prevent themselves from scoring. That's the opponent's scoring. But Coach Hardy has taken most of her, well,
Fouls called against number 5, Michaela Wiggins. Her first, team's first of this half. And Mount Dora does a fire drill. Everybody in for everybody else.
So again, both these teams rebuilding. Of course, the difference is Mount Dora's rebuilding with a new coach, Josh Upson, in his first year. This is also their first appearance, and unfortunately, it's not one that they're going to want to remember. On the other side, Apopka under Coach Hardy.
Janelle Francis picks up 2 for the Lady Darters.
Looking to get into the playoffs for the first time in 3 years, 9-15 last season, and can't ask for a better start than this. Certainly, again, you can look at the score and see it, but it's been what you would expect from a Coach Hardy team, and when they've been successful and gotten into the playoffs, that defense facilitating, igniting, great offense, easy opportunities, good looks at the basket, as we are now down to 6 minutes, and we are also in the running clock. If you're new to high school basketball in Florida, it's 35-point margin in the second half. And at the line, it'll be
Michaela Wiggins again, picking up the basket with a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called this time against Hurricanes number 12, Isabella Abner, her third, the team's second this quarter.
So Mount Dora, a Class 4A District 6 member, as Jones with the rebound just threw that up, was right underneath it, gets her own rebound, and she'll drive that lane. Still can't get the ball to drop, slides off the rim, but another offensive rebound. The hop, rims in and out, and Apopka gets a third offensive rebound. And no reset, go to the half-court set. Slashing along that line with no dice. Nothing doing there, that was Nurse. And the foul on the ensuing rebound in an attempt to bring the ball up.
Mira Nurse called in her first personal foul, the team's second of this quarter.
So Mount Dora
checking into the game for the Hurricanes, Devani Copeland and Abner.
winning their regular season, or losing their opening season. Their regular season opener.
Myra Nurse to Asia Jones.
Losing their regular season opener to Tavares. A close game there, 39-36. Then they came back and beat South Sumter, 46-30. And Apopka obviously will be 1-1. They lost their opener to Colonial, the state powerhouse under Cindy Richardson. Looking ahead, as there's now 4 minutes in the third quarter. Next Friday, December 3rd, actually, excuse me, I believe that's Tuesday, is December 3rd. They'll be taking on Ocoee. And then the 5th and 6th, that's the Metro Conference Championship Tournament. Mount Dora will be taking on Altamont Christian on the 5th and the 6th.
Foul called against Michaela Wiggins. That's her second, the team's third, and that will send Morales Garcia to the line.
And then Eastridge on December 10th. And so when this game does end, it will also be a 12-10 lead for the Metro Conference. If you're new to this event, there are 23 teams, 23 schools who make up the Metro Conference. There are 28 games, and when a public high school opens in Orange County, it becomes a member of the Metro Conference. Of course, there's some other county geographically based conferences as well. You have the Seminole Conference that comes to mind. It's not like college where the conference gets to choose and they have a vote, as does the school who does eventually get the invite. If you're a public high school located in Orange County, you're automatically a member of the Metro Conference when opening.
Asia Jones picks up 2 for the Lady Darters.
And in each of those games, again, 28 in total, the Metro Conference team takes on a non-member or otherwise afforded contingency, and we add up who wins the most at the end of the 28 games. So again, it'll be a 12-10 lead for the Metro Conference. And of course, this is the brainchild based on the conference challenges at college level. I know one time the ACC played the Big Ten. As an example, the SEC played the Big East as well. And Coach Williams, when he was at Wekiva, he came up with this idea. Started it, the first year was 2010. As the score now 51-10, a minute remaining in the third quarter. And of course, at that time, Wekiva was only 3 years old, so Coach Williams was looking for a signature event, something to put Wekiva on the map. At least if they weren't winning, at least they had something people talked about, something that was associated, something of a prestigious nature.
Basket by Tasia Bosch.
And I would say in that aspect it was very successful, but it was even more successful. Coach Williams, a strong believer in the quality of basketball played in Central Florida at the high school level, and he wanted to give the teams in Central Florida, again specifically the Metro Conference, Orange County, an opportunity to showcase that quality. And what better way to do it in a what's now a 4-day, 28-game event. And I'd say he's been even more successful than the showcase event for Wekiva in that aspect. Down to the last 3 seconds, and Mount Dora unable to get the shot off. So again, Wekiva just adds to the lead, 51-14 now, as we head into the fourth quarter opening match. Day 4 of the 2024 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge.
That takes us to the end of the third quarter. We remind you we've got 6 more games coming up today to finish out the 14th installment of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by Advent Health, St. Germain Chiropractic, and Burnfat, Orlando. Coming up next, Apopka's men's team takes to the court for the first time today. It'll be their second time for the event. They'll be facing off with the Lake Howell Silverhawks. You can get the complete schedule on our website, metrovsfl.com. The Darters have the opening possession of the fourth quarter.
And they will take over possession with the 51-14 lead. So again, now Coach Hardy, as I've mentioned several times, I've known her for almost 20 years now. Of course, she was an alum, captain of the 2018, which made a run to the state Final Four. Has decided to go ahead and put her reserves in. So again, going back to, I have no reason to believe that she intentionally runs up the score for the sake of running up the score. Apopka back to work a minute into the fourth quarter as we get a whistle, a held ball. And one of the few turnovers today by Apopka. And I think if you're Coach Hardy, again, I can't really speak for her, but I would think that, again, just common sense, some logic would be that obviously you're the more skilled team, you have a better talent level than Mount Dora, but I would be particularly happy in the sense of how your team came out and played today, especially coming off the loss in their opener.
Annabella Hart adds 2 for the Darters.
So certainly Apopka came out very businesslike, had a job to do, and took care of business from the beginning, scoring, I believe it was 20 straight points to open this game.
Tasia Bosch is fouled on the way up. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Hurricanes.
And Bosch slow to get up.
Foul is called against Darters number 12, Amari Dillon, her second, the team's second of this quarter.
And now the clock does stop for the injury. A 53-14 lead for Apopka. Bosch still down, being attended to by the training staff, and now she was able to get up with some assistance.
Tasia Bosch shaking up on the play, making her way off with the assistance of the training and coaching staff. Checking in for her will be number 22, Tegan Scott. And Scott will take those free throws in her place.
Scott at the line looking for her first points of the game. Dora back to work. Scott from long range out at the top of the key, no dice. And her hustle can't quite get that ball, but it does set up a turnover. Apopka never able to get into their transition off.
Basket by Isabella Abner.
So a couple baskets late, consecutive baskets late by Mount Dora. As we drop under 5 minutes. Apopka back to work. The shot from Brinson barely grazes the rim, and Mount Dora, one of the few transition opportunities. Scott takes the shot. No dice. And a 2-on-1 opportunity. Paulise takes it herself. And possession will remain with Apopka. So stick around. Of course, this is the first of 7 games. This is the 4th and final day of the 2024 Metro versus Florida Challenge. The Metro Conference will have a 12-10 lead at the end of this in about 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Coming up next, the men's will take back to the court. It will be the host school Apopka taking on Lake Howell, and then Windermere under Coach Mark Grisick will take on Vieira. Of course, Apopka and Vieira, 2 of 5 teams playing 2 games this event. Jones, West Orange, and Lake Buena Vista, the 3 other teams playing 2 games.
Kamar Polynice called in her first personal foul, the team's 3rd.
And so again, I talk about this at the end of each game. And of course, if you want to chime in, Mark, this event now for the last 4 years has been named the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. If you're not familiar with who Coach Graham was, obviously first he was a coach. He was never a head coach. He was an assistant coach. Coached for over 50 years, was always the loyal right-hand man. And again, for those of you who also are not familiar with me, my primary job is with the Apopka Chief. I'm a reporter, and I cover Apopka and Wekiva High Schools, which was Coach Graham's last 2 locations where he coached. He served as Coach Williams' right-hand man.
Foul called against Tegan Scott. Myron Nurse will shoot 2.
At both Wekiva and then, of course, Apopka up until his untimely passing. It'll be 4 years in January due to COVID. And I got to know him fairly well, at least maybe as close a relationship as an assistant coach and a reporter can have. And I got to know him as a very humble man. And that was one of the reasons that he never really looked for the limelight. He often sat, not even on the bench, he often sat in the bleachers behind the bench. And of course, he did most of his work. He was most known doing those behind-the-scene works with players, developing them as basketball players, but even more so, had great insight, and he felt it was even more important to work with his players to set them up, to provide them with the tools and the means to be successful in life well after college. And so, of course, as I mentioned, he passed away. It'll be 4 years at the beginning of next year due to COVID, and immediately Coach Williams decided to go ahead and make this the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. We also name at the end of each game a most valuable player. That's named after Coach Graham as well. Just a couple ways that Coach Williams and those of us involved with this event keep Coach Graham's legacy and his memory alive. And just to let everyone know, and of course Coach Graham looking from above, that he's not forgotten, not just the players, but those of us who got to know him who weren't players. So 30 seconds, again, stick around, we'll have the most valuable player award announcement, and then of course Apopka and Lake Howell will take to the court with a 12-10 lead being held by the Metro Conference. So again, Apopka school looking for its first victory. They were the favorites because they are the higher classification. They have business to take care of. They did that, scoring the first 20-plus points. They rolled to a 56-16 victory, and as you would expect, it was Coach Hardy, always her team's defense creating offense, transition, and easy looks, and they looked like they're ready to move on with the victory today. Mark, take us to the finish line for game number 22.
To the end of the ball game, and it is a 56-16 win for the Lady Darters here in game 22 of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. And we also have some hardware to hand out. The MVP plaque is being presented in memory of Coach Earl Graham, our long-term assistant coach here at Apopka, who coached and impacted thousands of lives throughout Central Florida. You can read our tribute to Coach Graham in our digital program to learn more about this remarkable man. In game number 22, the MVP plaque will go to the leading scorer for the Blue Darters, who established the momentum early and was picking up steals on the defensive side of the court and either drawing fouls or making layups all day long on the offensive side. That's number 5, Michaela Wiggins. 15 points for the Darters to lead them to victory here in game 22. Don't go anywhere. We've got lots more basketball action coming your way, and beginning up next with game 23. It's still Apopka on the court, but you may notice that now we have the men's team out here. That's right, we're switching back to men's basketball, and it'll be Apopka versus Lake Howell coming up next. If you're watching us online, we remind you each game is on its own separate live stream, so you'll need to exit out of this video, and we will meet you at the next one in just about 11 minutes.